call the meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. Please let the roll call show that all members are present. And please stand if you can to join me for a pledge of allegiance and then a moment of silence. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I would make a motion that we adopt the agenda moving 5F for separate consideration.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. We will start with district reports. We'll have a 2022 summer programming report. And we have Dr. Tunis and Dr. McCusker. And are you going to start, Dr. Tunis?
Yes, I will.
Awesome, thank you.
Right. Good evening, President O'Brien, governing board members, and Dr. Finch. This evening, we bring you an update on Deer Valley's 2022 summer programming from June and July. Our summer programs were divided for the third summer into 3 areas of enrichment, intervention, and get ahead credit and grade recovery. We'll start and talk a little bit about enrichment. Community education provided a robust number of opportunities for students in this past summer. The infographic you see there on the left shows data about the various programs offered from adventure camps, rock camps, and enrichment. Overall, students had fun, they were engaged in learning, and had a safe environment for whichever community ed program they joined. In partnership with Career and Technical Education Community Ed, the summer camps offered career exploration experiences in culinary arts at, of course, Barry Goldwater High School, law and public safety also at Barry Goldwater High School, and construction careers sponsored by and facilitated by McCarthy Builders, which took place at 4 of our DVUSD summer campsites. We also had the EL Writers Workshop for the second year in a row. It's for our English learners. The best indicator of their acquired language and cemented English skills is demonstrated through writing. Writing is the last set of skills that an EL student will usually acquire, and it must be directly taught just like any other language skill. But many times writing is not the focus for language acquisition, as it takes a great deal of time to teach EL students to write proficiently. In order to write proficiently, a student needs to be able to synthesize and apply all of the language skills of listening, speaking, and reading. And this summer program provides both time and explicit instruction with language and the written word. So cute. In partnership with WestMech, DVUSD offered 2 summer camps at the WestMech Northeast campus during the week of June 6th through 10th. Ready, Set, Zoom served 24 DVUS students in grades 7 and 8, building and operating remote-controlled powered vehicles and learning basic robotic skills. The Orange Experience served 48 DVUSD students in grades 7 and 8 as they explored careers through hands-on projects and activities in coding, medical assisting, pharmacy tech, construction, and electrical trades. And transportation options were provided from each high school location, and daily snacks for campers were also provided by WestMech. Next, we will talk a little bit about intervention, and we will start with Dr. McCusker and ESY.
Good evening, governing board members, President O'Brien, and Dr. Finch, and community members. Extended school year was again provided at our Vista Peak campus, and this is primarily for students that are on IEPs, and it is a maintenance skill set that happens over the summer. We provided supports for approximately 100 students. You can see 97 students there, and we had great numbers for turnouts for our ESY teachers, for 22 ESY teachers and 25 parapros. Again, this is for a maintenance of skill set over our ESY programming, which ran through June and July. And there are some wonderful comments and direct quotes from our families for extended school year about their appreciation for not only the staff, but just how smoothly things ran this year. So we always like to get feedback from our parent surveys.
As you can see here, it takes a village to provide an amazing learning experience for students. This year, we had 2 new components to our Jumpstart Intervention Program. We added Jumpstart ELA Boost for 1st through 3rd grade students needing intensive reading remediation. These small groups of students received explicit remediation support and reading for each of the 14 days of Jumpstart. Students engaged in multisensory reading activities with application to text. Our students entering 1st through 9th grade who needed just a boost to be on track for the next grade level received small group intervention in ELA and math. And all students had the added component of movement and physical education built into each day. And that was a new addition to our Jumpstart program. You can see that over 1,400 students attended this program.
All right, and back to me. Our Southwest Behavioral Health and Services Partnership, again, provided support for our students and families over summer break. And so this year, we were very proud to host 5 summer programs provided to our Deer Valley Unified School District students, including their families. We had a new addition this school year, and that was our middle school group, which we greatly appreciated the partnership with Southwest. Our data supported that our middle schoolers would really benefit from extension opportunities over the summer and being able to connect with a mental health clinician. And so we were able to support that. And it was a great celebration. Over 48 Deer Valley Unified School District enrolled in our summer programs, and we consider that a celebration with this partnership.
And finally, we have our Get Ahead Credit and Grade Recovery Program. So 4 of our high schools offered course extension opportunities at the end of 2nd semester to students who had passed identified courses. Schools invited students who met a specific grade criteria to participate in course extension for either the 1st or 2nd week of summer break. And as you can see here, each of the high schools who offered this program had great success with helping students recapture lost credits. And you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, we even had 12 summer graduates from Deer Valley High School. Next, Aspire hosted both our blended middle school summer school program and our online high school. Shown here are 178 middle school students. You actually can't see them all here, but they were here very frequently every day throughout the summer. They successfully promoted to the next grade level, either into 8th grade or 9th grade. We had an 81% pass rate this summer with enrolled middle school students. Our online high school had about 833 students earn just over 1,000 credits with 73 unique courses offered. It was another robust year for our online program. Our middle school blended teachers and high school online teachers worked diligently to ensure students had many opportunities to learn, successfully attain Get Ahead credits, and recover lost credits or failing grades. DVUSD Pathways is the last program we will highlight for our afternoon evening opportunity for students. As you can see in the infographic, high school students took advantage of Pathways to recapture credits or all Get Ahead credits. For the first time, Pathways held summer school in the month of June and again in July. These are 4-week enrollment periods with students attending Monday through Friday for 3.5 hours a day. For honors options, we had Algebra 3, 4, and honors was added to the course menu this summer. Summer 2022 was another great opportunity to prove multiple types of options for Deer Valley students, offering programs for students that span all over grade levels and interests with both academic and enrichment programs offered. Overall, approximately 4,660 students took advantage of DVUSD summer programs this year. We could not have accomplished a summer of such amazing opportunities for students and families without each of the dedicated teachers and support staff, program administrators, and host schools who made each summer offering possible. Also, a huge shout out to our classified staff, including food services, transportation staff, custodians, and community ed lead instructors and assistants for their service to children this summer. We truly have had an extraordinary employees and an extraordinary summer programming. Thank you.
Thank you both. Board members, any questions? Mrs. Paperman.
It sounds like amazing programs for all students. My question is it free tuition to all students, or certain students qualify or do not qualify?
Mrs. Pipperman, members of the board, great question. Most of the programs are free, and some of them have criteria for qualification, while others are open to all students. There are some programs that are fee-based, so there's quite a variety.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, seeing no other questions or comments, again, thank you both. It looks like it was another banner summer for our Deer Valley kids. So we will now be moving on to public participation at the meeting. We have 8 speakers. Mrs. Ordway will read our guidelines.
All right, the board invites public comment on the district's business in general and on any agenda item in specific. All speakers must observe the rules of decorum. Speakers must fill out a card listing names, address, and topic, and hand it to the board secretary prior to the president calling the meeting to order. Speaker must make their comments in no more than 3 minutes. If necessary to accommodate all speakers, the 30-minute overall limit. The board president may shorten each speaker's time. Constructive criticism is in order. Rudeness, vulgarity, disruptive conduct, or remarks disrespecting personal dignity are not in order and will not be allowed. Under the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the governing board cannot discuss or act on any items not listed on the agenda. Board members may respond to criticism made by a speaker, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. So I'm going to read the order for the speakers, and if you could kind of line up. Rosemary Spalding, Larry Scoufus. Did I say that right? I hope so. Okay, you're writing, guys. Everybody's wrote fast tonight. Rob McGregor. Okay, I got that right. Tiffany McGill. And then I'll call the next ones after.
So you'll step forward to the microphone, state your name for the record, your time will begin, and when your time finishes, the microphone will go off. Thank you.
My name is Rose Spalding, and I'm here tonight to let you know that even though the programs and stuff that you put in place for the kids to do over the summer, we still had extremely low academic scores for our children. Not only that, but if you allow the nurses in our schools to be able to give out injections to our students or have any involvement with that, then that means that they're breaking the Nuremberg Code, which means that you also can be held liable for that. I also wanted to let you know that I dropped off more affidavits to you. You have one that goes for parents' rights, because we all know that you don't listen to the parents. And then we have another one for maladministration, which we have plenty of information on that one that you do. And then the last one is one especially for you, Ann O'Brien, for going against the bylaws of the Republican Party and signing and going out and getting signatures for the Democrats, which is in the bylaws that you broke. So I just wanted to let you know those are dropped off for you.
Thank you for your comments. Please state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
Thank you. Larry Scofus. I have grandchildren that attend Gavilan Peak School in Anthem, and I want to bring up an issue that I know you're aware of because it's been a long-standing problem at the school. They have been without a custodian, full-time custodian, since the last school year. A lot of the things that normally would be done by the custodian, emptying garbage, cleaning bathrooms, sanitizing classrooms, vacuuming, that sort of thing, have fallen onto the administrative staff, the teachers. The PTO has recruited parents and grandparents to do the work. I don't mind volunteering, but I don't want our teachers and administrative staff doing it. I want them to educate our children, and I don't want them taken away from the job that they need to do. I know that there's been attempts to hire a custodian. I'm not sure how long-standing that's been, but again, this has been since the last school year. There have been promises of contracting with cleaning services. That has started and stopped. I'm not sure what the situation is currently. I would hope that in the near future that the board will do something to expedite the hiring of a full-time custodian. Now, I'm not in the business of, you know, school board I don't foresee a reasonable way of concluding this in the immediate future, but I would hope that a reasonable alternative would be to take some of those janitors, some of those custodians, and the other schools in Anthem at least, if not the school district, to rotate so the onus isn't on just Gavel and Peak to get the job done. None of the other schools in Anthem have this problem. They all have a custodian to fulfill their needs. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Please state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
My name is Rob McGregor. I'm a parent of several kids in the Boulder Creek High School District. So I'm going to read because I'm a little nervous, but I want you to know my CV. I'm a coach of over 20 years. I'm very highly regarded. I've coached many of these students and athletes in Boulder Creek and many of the elementary schools. I coached briefly at the high school, and I found that there was a toxic culture there that I think is starting to come to light a little bit. And I'm going to give some details, and I hope that someone would come back and help investigate and see if maybe these things are founded. But everything that I speak to has people behind it and are factual. And also, I'm all of the certifications, mandatory reporter, and all those things that are required of coaches, I've fulfilled with the flying colors, so you know that my statements are true. Coaching has been my passion. It changed my life. I engage with students and athletes because I love what it gives the community. What I found is that this with the cheer coach Amy Young, who was terminated. None of us know why. I've got students and athletes that are actually engaged in that program, and I've got boys and girls that are coming into that program excited about what she's doing, and nobody seems to know why. I don't need to know the answer here, but I want you to know what the perception is from the parents. We have an administrative staff there that either didn't like her or it feels very political, and a lot of the moves are leading towards her friends or getting brought in. The cheer staff that's already in place is not being promoted to take over in the event that she really did something that was egregious. And we're concerned a little bit about the athletes and the other program and whether that coach is being held accountable to the same standard that Amy was. So we wanted to know what it was really about. And if it's safety, I know for a fact that one of the coaches on staff currently is a felon, and that would seem to me to be a greater risk than what a cheer coach and whatever happened. The other thing I noticed, and I want to bring to light, is I don't know if it's overt or not, but there's a tendency for our community we complain that we don't have enough coaches, but I've had many friends who are African Americans who do not get calls back because they have ethnic names, and yet other coaches are being brought back. Forgive my nervousness. I have several players who had played in the NFL who are fathers of parents of kids like mine. They tried to get in on the staff. They were not called back. When I moved from California, it took them all of 30 minutes to call me back, and I got a walking tour of sorry, that was my former city. Coaches using the N-bomb in front of student athletes. The athletes have since quit, but they're willing to stand up and speak. There's a culture of toxicity that's in our sports that are leading parents to tell me, as a concerned citizen, they don't want their kids to go to school and participate in athletics there. And that terrifies me because as a coach, sports gave me my life, right? They taught me all the things I need to know. So I hope that there's some investigation done, and I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Mr. McGregor. Dr. Zerbuck, could you please, when you have an opportunity, talk to Mr. McGregor about his information, and Dr. Finch, could we please have an update in the Friday update about this matter? Please state Mrs. Ordway is going to call a couple more names. Okay, please state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
Sure. Tiffany McGill. So I am representing the Spirit Line Board. Kristen sent you all an email earlier today. I don't know if you've had time to read it, I would encourage you to read it. It's very thorough, very well written to give you an understanding of what has been going on with the termination of Amy Young. Um, we were asked by the athletic director, all of us on the board, to join the Spirit Line board to support Amy. At that time, it was just 2 months ago. The athletic director was full on behind her. So, without getting into details, obviously we know she can't talk to us about that. My concern is, who do we talk to? Where is our voice? How is there accountability for actions that were done that we, based upon the facts that we know, were not just? So, as a parent of a cheerleader who quit All Star, has goals of cheering for college, we now have fired somebody who's qualified to take these girls to that level to compete, to potentially get scholarships. And now we're filling them with friends who are not certified. Girls they cannot stunt or tumble now. I don't even know if those certifications can get, that's kind of up in the air. So our girls are in a program, leaving all-star cheer community, joining high school cheer, and they can't do any tumbling or stunting, no growth, no development. I'd also like to discuss just Amy's character, what she's done for the community. We were brought in to kind of bridge the divide, the great divide between football, Spirit Line, and band. And we have worked tirelessly to make that happen with Football Booster, their coaches. And a week before kickoff, Amy's fired for something, quite honestly, is a huge problem at Boulder Creek. Having two boys who have been in the football program, we turn our eyes away from the drug problem that's going on. I directly asked Sutton what she was going to do about it. She said it was above her, so I would assume it would fall on you all to know what we can do. If you're going to hold coaches accountable for a drug problem, I would think that you would need to be drug testing. I know other schools do it, other programs do it. I don't know how you expect a teacher, a coach, a volunteer, anyone to make a judgment about whether a player is high or what is going on, but to basically throw a whole program in the trash over that kind of a judgment call is just unbelievable, honestly. So I'm here asking you to do something so we don't have to draw in public attention to our school district that we love.
Thank you.
Damian Large.
Can you say it again?
Pardon me?
Say it again.
Oh, Damian Large, I think, yes. Kim Ranker, Angela Robertson, and Olivia Large.
Please state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
Damian Larsh. I'm a father of one of the Boulder Creek cheerleaders. I've known Amy for a couple of years. I had a daughter that graduated last year that spent several years in the Boulder Creek cheer program. I look at this as two things. Accountability. Obviously, there was accountability that was handed down by the school district for actions that a lot of us are unsure of. But we have a general idea. But on the flip side of that, there's accountability for the students and their actions, but we don't see accountability. And as a father of a daughter that's still in cheer, it's embarrassing, quite honestly, that I have to sit here and have a conversation with her about the boys' club and why they're able to get away with stuff. And it's a common trend. I had two boys that went through football programs that played sports, and like I live and breathe football. But it's embarrassing when we're expecting our cheerleaders to go out there and support the team and support players that really could care less about them. And as a father, that's challenging. It's challenging to sit here and try and explain a system of accountability when this room isn't doing it. So that's what I have. Amy, she's been there when tragedy hit my family. She's amazing. This doesn't make sense. Really doesn't. Thank you.
Thank you. You can use this shorter one if you want, or maybe we can adjust it for you.
I'm pretty loud anyway.
Please state your name for the record.
I am Kimberly Rankin, and I'm here on behalf also of Boulder Creek High School and the loss of our coach, Amy Young. She's very much alive. We just, we have lost her temporarily, hopefully. Um, I'm a cheer mom. That means that my daughter started doing this at probably like 5 years old. I know the ins and outs of cheer. I know the ins and outs of coaches, and I know the coaches that are there to make it. When we moved here to Anthem, we've gone to 2 gyms now, and our second one was with Coach Amy. And so when my daughter, who is an amazing cheerleader and had already made teams at other all-star gyms, she put those on the back burner because she wanted to be coached by Coach Amy, along with 5 of her best friends. We have not gone back to that because of what Coach Amy has brought to them. She has tirelessly worked hard for this program. We have turned this program around to where our school, people are excited about it. Friday Night Lights is a show to be seen. Our kids work so hard. Last year, she had 90 athletes that she took care of on Spirit Line. 90. And 90 kids with smiles, and 90 kids that learned, and 90 kids that kept their grades up, and 90 kids that came back again this year, except for the ones that graduated. And the ones that are there are because they know that Coach Amy is going to bring them to the top and get them to where they need to be. They know that Coach Amy is going to be there if they're having a bad day and their boyfriend has humiliated them. They know that Coach Amy is going to be there if one of them gets sick or ill. And she's a hard one and she's a soft one. She's the best coach you have. And so when this happened, immediately I was just as crushed as my daughter. And like I said, I know cheer. So when we went to yesterday to meet the new coaches, I asked the AD, I said, do these coaches have the ability to know what's going on with cheer at all times, up to a level 6 when it comes to pyramid and stunting and tumbling? She said, of course they do. Of course. They work with cheer. They're constantly, they've been in cheer gyms. They're doing this. She's promising me this. It'll be fine. Because if you don't have somebody on the floor, that's nothing that a certification is going to take care of. You do not know. You don't just learn how to coach because somebody gave you a paper and said you passed something. Well, I went up to both of those coaches. Neither of them have any experience whatsoever. And they were hired within probably hours of Amy being terminated. And the one who had a little bit of experience, it's from high school. So in that, I'm experienced, I mean, this is crazy. We literally have our kids in the sport at this school for a specific reason. And if safety was a reason that this was taken out, then, I mean, they're so unsafe at this point that they can't even practice what they're allowed to do and what they know how to do because the women that are there that are supposed to be their coaches aren't certified and wouldn't know what to do if they had the option. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
Angela Robertson. Any of my comments about safety have nothing to do with your situation. I'm here tonight. Good evening, Dr. Finch, President O'Brien, and board members. I'm here tonight to encourage you to continue your efforts to improve the conditions at Gavilan Peak School, where we have a 4th grader, a 2nd grader, a kindergartner, and a future Firebird. Every district wants to be able to say that they put the health and safety of their students first. I know you're already aware of the challenges faced at Gavilan Peak due to the lack of custodial staff for an extended period of time. The principal, vice principal, and teachers have been fulfilling those duties, going above and beyond their already substantial workloads. My 4th grader and I are signed up to vacuum tomorrow afternoon. I understand that one of the board members even came to help out the other day, and I applaud and really appreciate that. I also understand that some important progress has recently been made to resolve this issue. Thank you. I hope you're also already aware that one of the 2nd grade classrooms has not had air conditioning for these first 3 weeks of the school year. Yesterday, my son said, I hope we don't have to have class in the library again. Today, he told me that it was fixed, but the room was still hot, but they'll get to use it tomorrow. I am grateful, though a bit astonished it took so long to resolve such an important issue. My message tonight is that in order to put the health and safety of students first, these issues must remain first on your to-do lists, first on your minds until they are completely resolved. Dr. Finch, please ensure that the hiring of the custodial staff at Gavilan Peak is first on the agenda of Human Resources tomorrow. Put it first on the to-do list when the time comes to sign off on the hiring. First thing tomorrow, please confirm that the air conditioning in Mr. Yao's classroom has been fixed. If it isn't, please ensure that it is first on the facilities agenda. Please keep the health and safety of the students, staff, and teachers at Gavilan Peak first on your minds until these issues are resolved. Put health and safety first. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Please state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
Hi, my name is Olivia Larson. I'm the Spirit Line JV captain, and this is an email that a student on cheer wrote that she asked if I could read today. Good morning, Miss Sutton. I am coming to you with my concerns, respect, and honesty, and I hope that you can give me the same. As you know, many rumors have been spreading around the school in regards to why Coach Amy was fired. I know the truth, and a lot of other people do too. I understand that the purpose of the meeting today was to inform the team that there will be a change in coaching, but did you honestly expect the parents to have no questions or concerns? If you are concerned about safety, then you should be informing the parents. They have a right to know why their children are in an unsafe environment. Football has always been given the benefit of doubt just because they're football. But I hope you realize that we spend hours of perfecting routines, conditioning, sweating, running, stunting, and tumbling so that their football season can be nothing but the best. None of this would be possible without Amy. I hope that the certain players on the football team and cheerleading team who were caught doing these acts face consequences, and I hope the same for Coach Cass. Because what about the kids who are suspended for vaping and drinking in the school bathrooms? Since they're under the teachers' names, why don't the teachers also get fired for these consequences? Honestly, I don't see why you need to hire a new coach because you have a perfectly good one who has always stood up for football. All of the girls on the team paid for Amy because she is the reason that BC Spirit Line is what it is today. As a captain, I see how much work she puts in to make Spirit Line better than it has been. She went through hours of coaching. She went through hours of classes not only to be a coach, but also to be certified in the weight room so we could be better and stronger athletes. One of our girls broke her arm, and she held her until the ambulance came and never once complained. Girls quit over the summer, and she still found a way to make it work. One of her assistant coaches left mid-season last year, and Amy managed 2 varsity teams, a competition team, a JV team, and a freshman team, all by herself. The list goes on. The point is, Amy has been there for everyone, for every single girl when they need it the most, cheer related or not. She has made Spirit Line what it is today, and that is the reason that you would be out of your mind to hire anyone else respectfully. I understand that this is hard for everyone, and I understand that you are doing your best to handle it appropriately. But if you ask any of the girls, they will tell you that Amy is one of the best coaches that you will find, and you will have a hard time replacing her. Amy will always be our coach no matter what happens. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Look forward to the update and the Friday update.
Are you ready to move on? Yes? All right, I would ask that the governing board provide direction to the Arizona School Board Association delegate or delegate alternate regarding the 2023 political agenda items to vote on behalf of DVUSD at the delegate assembly being held on September 10th.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, board members? We've already ranked them. This is what came back as the draft 2023 political agenda will be voted on at the delegate assembly in September.
So this is what we already agreed upon. It's
Well,
just,
we sent in our
We sent
tops,
in,
and then
okay.
this is what comes out as a whole document.
well, I'm good with what this says.
Any other comments or discussion? Mrs. Fisher?
I'm not finding it here, but I just want to stress that I am opposed. I know it's in here somewhere because I read it earlier, but I am strongly opposed to putting the burden of, now I'm drawing a blank of the funding. Jim, help me out. What's the funding Phoenix Union, Tucson get? We don't. Most of the state doesn't. Yeah, DSEG. Sorry, thank you. I've just seriously had a brain loss for a moment. I know it's in here somewhere. I'm opposed to the DSEG being put back on the burden of this entire state. None of these school districts remain under a court order. Desegregation court orders have expired years ago, decades ago. And it's just additional funding that was put on their own local. And I'm opposed to that burden falling onto everybody else. And I know it's on here, I just.
It's
am
item 19.
Okay.
It's
and
on
so
page 2, so
I am highly opposed to that
item.
item.
Okay.
And then, as I know these change as you're discussing them in the process, I am opposed to anything that in any way mitigates the ultimate control over students to the parents. I am opposed to any action on anyone's part to take away parent rights or parent voice for their kids. So as if anything changes as the conversation's occurring,
Right. Certainly, there's nothing in there at this time. I do understand discussion occurs, and so I would say, with the exception of 1.9, because I also concur with Mrs. Fisher about the desegregation. I think I'm hearing from Mrs. Ordway here, so the exception would be for that, and then anything related to parental control. So with that direction, I would call for a vote to approve.
Good. Everybody good?
Okay. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Next.
Are we all in? All right, I would ask that the governing board approve consent agenda items 5A through 5M minus 5F that we will look at for individual consideration.
I second.
I have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, please say nay.
nay.
I have 4 ayes and 1 nay. Motion passes.
Hold on one second. I gotta get over there. You ready? Right, I would ask that the governing board approve human resource changes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Who do we have?
Aye.
Are there any opposition? Any opposed? Any nays?
I'd like to know why it was pulled for separate consideration.
Mrs.
It was
O'Brien?
pulled for separate consideration for a potential conflict of interest. And with that, I'll be abstaining.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I've just made it a practice not to ever vote for something where I know there's going to be an ongoing conflict of interest, because we already have way too many of those occurring right now that just put us in one heck of a bad situation. So even though I know it will pass, it will not pass with my vote, so I'll vote no.
Are we ready? I would ask that the governing board approve all employee out-of-state travel per governing board policy GCCE.
Is there a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion?
I have a concern. I didn't support sending the superintendent to train other superintendents how to lie to the public. I'm concerned that we're now sending 3 other individuals to speak for him, additionally showing how to market, whether it's true or not, to the public. I just, at our last meeting, I mean, are we gonna start sending people to train people how to get the governing board to vote to get around procurement laws, or what are we, I mean, I just don't think that I don't know why we're sending 5 highly paid individuals to go train other highly paid individuals how to market public education. So I just find that very concerning that we're doing it at all, and I'm sorry for anyone else whose trip is there. It'll still pass, but I cannot support spending money, especially when we need a custodian and teachers and everything else. So my vote's going to be nay. I'm just clarifying it.
I have a question.
Mrs. Reed?
Dr. Zerbach and Mrs. Moffett, you are potentially attending the conference. Are you going to teach people how to market and circumvent the governing board and things that Mrs. Fisher said?
President O'Brien, Ms. Reed, no, we are not going to do that. Again, the presentation is showcasing many of the things that Deer Valley has done that have been noted by many organizations such as AEF. And then we are provided opportunities as well to learn from, excuse me, other districts while we're there.
Could you please tell everybody what ADEF is? Dr. Zerbach, please.
The Arizona Educational Foundation.
Thank you. Mrs. Paperman? Mrs. Moffett has a response.
I would just add additionally, it is a learning for us, and from my perspective, I would have the opportunity to share the work that we have done in the area of employee support, specifically like EAP work and work that professional development that we have done around district culture and working to set a positive environment in really difficult times.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Moffett. Mrs. Reed, did you have follow-up?
Follow-up. Mrs. Moffett, wasn't this one of the conferences that you went to and spoke at and were able to share what we were doing with EP to help other districts around the country get that rolled out to their staff as well?
Mrs. Reed, I did have the opportunity to speak to that at last year's conference, however, not in a formal way. I have spoken at state conferences, formal conferences on that topic, but not nationally.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Reed, or Mrs. Moffett, Ms. Reed, could you decipher or translate EAP for those that don't know what that means.
Employee assistance program, and it is just dawning on me, your question, we did during COVID, did present on that topic nationally. So yes, that might be what you are thinking about. But then last year, in person, it was informal and not formal. And then an employee assistance program are the structures that we have in place to support our employees with a variety of needs, social emotional needs, working under stressful conditions, legal needs they may have, financial needs that they may have, and other health-related needs that they may have.
Mrs. Paperman?
As an educator, being a teacher, professional development is one area where we collaborate within the state, or we collaborate with other states. In Arizona, we have challenges in education, and I think learning from states that are doing an amazing job within the education system, I think is a good way to send educators to learn from others. So PD's professional development is to support students to grow as an educator and to grow as a district.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay.
I did have a follow-up question, but
I
nay.
apologize, Mrs. Fisher.
Like, like I said, these all lean towards marketing to what they want the public to believe. EAP is at every benefits conference, every local conference, every local event. These are all things that can be done locally. My concern, and I remain, you've already voted, I will vote nay, is that we're spending a lot of money, and we're saying that we don't want students to have certain things, ESAs, or we don't want to support this, we want to support that, because we have to keep that money in public education. The public would be much more likely to let us keep that money in public education if we were aiming that money at serving our students. So I will again state, for those who are going for actual PD versus group team building events, I apologize, but I do have to vote no on the entire thing because it's not separated.
Thank you. The motion passes 4-1.
All right, I would ask that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to pre-approve the addenda as presented.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously.
I would ask that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the sub-award agreement between Deer Valley Unified School District, the City of Phoenix for the Early Childhood Education Expansion American Rescue Plan Act.
I second.
We have a motion and a second, and for this, we will go to Dr. McCusker.
Good evening again, Governing Board, President O'Brien, Dr. Finch, and community members. I'm just going to wait until our presentation appears on the screen. Just a moment. All right. Good evening again. This is a wonderful opportunity to discuss another expansion for our early childhood programming. We have entered into and hope to enter into a continued relationship with the City of Phoenix. And this is through, it is quite a mouthful, the Early Childhood Education Expansion American Rescue Plan Act. That is a very long title. So if we could go to the next slide, I will describe a little bit about what this is. So this expansion has provided a 2-year grant provided by the City of Phoenix for our programs in Deer Valley Unified School District. With that comes $260,000 each year for those 2 years to provide early childhood programming expansion opportunities for our district families. And so this expansion must meet income guidelines. And so again, Head Start programming is also in early childhood. This is a more expansive opportunity, so more parents and more community members can qualify for this early childhood programming. So it's a wonderful opportunity for students outside of Head Start and their poverty guidelines for our parents to get free early childhood care for students and future Deer Valley students. So we have City of Phoenix caseworkers that complete this intake information. We actually have them located at one of our campuses in the district at our Sunrise Elementary School. And they actually sit in an office and they work collaboratively with the early childhood leadership team to assure that our families' needs are met and that we're able to support them with the application process. So 3 schools in our school district are benefiting from this expansion: Constitution Elementary School, Sunrise Elementary School, and Village Meadows Elementary School. And this is a full day of preschool for 6.5 hours per day. And providing early childhood opportunities and early literacy opportunities, as well as socialization opportunities, creates better kindergartners for our Deer Valley schools. So 40 preschool slots have been blended into our existing Head Start classrooms. At this moment in time, 20 of those slots are filled. I predict that our 40 slots will be filled prior to the end of this month. Families are very excited about this opportunity. With the grant money, we have added 2 additional early childhood teachers as well as paraprofessionals. And these students are in a blended model, which is a nice opportunity for students on IEPs to have exposure to students with more typicality for socialization and communication. And our special ed services are provided as an itinerant service delivery in these classrooms. Are there any questions?
Mrs. Ordway?
Dr. McCusker, how are the families identified? Are they reached out to, or how does that working?
There are many different systems of the way we communicate with our families. Certainly the caseworkers from City of Phoenix are providing some opportunities through word of mouth and communication systems, as well the campuses that have already been identified are spreading information to our early childhood families and other families within the school system. So we are receiving a great response. I am not concerned about the amount of communication because we are receiving such a great response to this.
Oh, I didn't think that there wouldn't be a response. I was just wondering how they were being identified because we have additional resources with the City of Phoenix being able to also help to identify. So that should really find those that are in need. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Reed?
For this program, do students have to live within DVUSD boundaries in order to attend?
So for this program, the majority of our students at this time are living within our district boundaries. However, because it is a partnership with City of Phoenix, there are some students that are coming to us from other districts. So this is a great recruitment opportunity for Deer Valley to bring other students into our district. But the majority now are Deer Valley boundaried students.
And can you remind me the age range for this program, please?
Of course, it's ages 3 to 5.
Thank you.
Mrs. Fisher?
Is there any impact in our child find or other programs?
Mrs. Fisher, good question. So this is a nice opportunity for our district to also work within the classrooms to identify students who are general education students in these classrooms. And we do have professionals pushing in for itinerant service delivery. So it doesn't take away from our responsibility for child find. So we are able to work very closely with students and monitor their progress. So it actually is a very helpful assistance for child find opportunities.
Mrs. Paperman?
With the shortage of teachers, will we be able to hire early childhood highly qualified teachers?
Mrs. Paperman, can you repeat the first part? I'm sorry.
Yeah, with the shortage of teachers, because right now it's very difficult, getting teachers in the classroom. Will we be able to hire highly qualified early childhood teachers?
Thank you, Mrs. Paperman, for repeating the question. At this time, we have been able to hire teachers that are properly qualified. However, the City of Phoenix and our great partnership, they would be willing to give us additional monies. However, at this time, it is challenging to recruit additional teachers. So your question is on point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. So we will go to our preview item, which is Governing Board Policy JLCB, immunizations. And for that, we will return to Dr. McCusker.
Good evening again, Governing Board, President O'Brien, Dr. Finch, and members. This is the first reading for JLCB, which focuses on immunizations of students. I lost my clicker. Pardon me. So this focuses on our board adoption today, focusing for a consideration for a review. As we look at House Bill 2898, this enacted a new statute which prohibits school districts and charter schools from requiring face coverings for students and staff during school hours, as well on school property, and provides that a school district or charter school may not require a student or teacher to receive a vaccine for COVID-19 or to wear a face covering. Appropriate changes have been made, both in policy, regulation, and the exhibit.
Thank you, Dr. McCusker. Are there any questions for Dr. McCusker?
Just one comment.
Mrs. Fisher.
I would like to have this policy for a future agenda to possibly be considered. I understand that it says subject to exemption as provided by law, but just the wording of it, I believe, is difficult. I know ASBA provides policy and we're supposed to just accept it, but I really wish we would put a little bit of policy's boring and not all parents will necessarily read it. And they feel like they're pressured that they have to get immunizations, because essentially that's what this says, unless you look at that one little spot. And I would like it to be a little clearer that there are exemptions for parents who, and it's not just religious exemptions, there are many exemptions for parents who do not wish to immunize their children. And they also need to be aware that if there's an outbreak of whatever their child's not immunized, they'll have to take them out. I get a lot of inquiries from parents who feel that they are pressured because it says things like must be and things like that, even though it has the subject to. So I just wish in the future when we actually discuss things again that we would consider adding that on. So if you want to just put a tickler on your radar for a future consideration.
So Mrs. Fisher, is there language, I apologize, Dr. McCusker, is there language that you are proposing to add or modify for this? Do you have
I think we'd
specific
have
language?
to really think more about it because we don't want to, and it'd have to go for legal review and whatnot. This meets the legal criteria, and it is technically still there, but I would like it to be have a more of an ease for that parent who's reading it real quickly, and just trying to get the pair of twins hanging off a hip and kindergartner. And I just remember when my babies were young, I didn't always take the time to read.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify before we moved on. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. McCusker. All right, governing board reports. Mrs. Paperman.
I would like to bring up to the community, I know that right now it's challenging trying to find cleaners, custodian, and this is in every district. I have worked in 2 districts, and it's very hard trying to find individuals. If parents know anyone or recommendations, please let the administration know. I'm sure the district puts out hiring for positions, and even within classroom, we have vacancies. and trying to find bodies to fill those even those classroom is challenging. Also, talk to the principals what's happening within their school. Why, for example, parents stating that their school is not clean. Well, why is this happening? What has the principal done? Have we tried to get individuals for hiring? Has it gone to the community? I truly believe that we need to work together to see if we can find individuals to support the district, because there's only so much that the district can do, putting job fairs or open positions. So as a community, if we can come together and find individuals to support us. And I know a board member had to go and support and clean a school. So the district is trying our best. So if the community members can also work together with us to make sure that every school clean and safety is going to be put in place. Thank you.
Mrs. Fisher?
Wow, school's been open, what, 3 weeks now? 4 weeks? I've had a few parents with some happy stories, but overall, I am contacted regularly. Our families are still struggling with this, with our grading system. I thought we were very clear that we were to return to a traditional grading system, which has not happened at all. I was under the impression that our board had voted as a whole. We don't agree on a lot of things, but I was under the impression that we all agreed on that. But according to parents, that is not the case. There is a lot that is going on, and it's blatant just defiance that I'm going to do what I want. And the problem with that is that's when parents say, well, fine, you do what you want, but I'm going to take my kids somewhere else where they'll do what I want because they're my kids. And so I again will ask that we have a meaningful discussion, study session where the parents have a voice and have an input on the subjects. I'm additionally upset to hear about any of our schools being unclean, but I also know how hard it is to hire somebody. In the last 2 months at my work, we have hired a dozen people or so. Some lasted a day, some lasted a week, some lasted to a paycheck. Some never showed up after they completed all their paperwork and drug testing and everything else. I don't get that one. So it is difficult. And I've read a few of the emails from parents, and I do understand the struggle. And for the teachers and the administrators, I understand that struggle too. I'm the CFO, and guess what? I take out my own garbage, and I take a turn at cleaning the bathroom because we don't have a custodian either, because we can't hire one. They just not coming. We're not coming. So I was like, okay, well, get me long gloves. I'll take a turn on Friday when I'm in jeans. But it's a struggle. I would ask that the district maybe try and reach out. And this is, I kept thinking on anything. If there's a transition to work program, there is a lot of individuals, and no, I'm not saying the special needs individuals should clean, but I will tell you I have 3 kids, and I have one who I just say, do your chores. He takes out the trash, he feeds his tortoise, he cleans his bathroom, he mops the floor, he vacuums. My typical 2 daughters, well, now they're gone, but when they were home, it was consequences and punishment. So there's a lot of special needs adults that are involved in some of these programs. And I know that one of the biggest things the challenges that are faced is, where do we let them work? They want to work. They're awesome at working. Some of them are highly skilled, some of them maybe not as much. but they have such a value and a love for their schools. That's the first home that they have. That's the first place they learned things and were respected. And some of them would love to return and work. And there are programs. Um, I can send you, well, I mean, my son's in a program, but his is, I can send you a contact with the state, not that program, but a different one, that maybe they have workers who want to work because it's fulfilling to them. And they get to also um, high five people and be happy and enjoy engagement. We'll still have to have somebody to keep some of them on track, but they have a great value. So that's a possible opportunity. In the meantime, for the parents of Gavilan Peak, I'm sorry, but we do need your help until that time comes. And teachers and administrators, we need your help. If I didn't work an hour away, I would have no problem coming in. You know, I might work a day from home and come in and do some stuff on a day. Because any job worth doing is anyone could do it. So we should all pitch in, but maybe try those programs. The final thing is the parents that are here tonight, and I did read through the email real quickly because it's a fairly long email, so I can't say I didn't miss parts of it. I skimmed it. This is not the first time we have had concerns specifically surrounding sports, specifically surrounding cheer and football. Multiple times there have been accusations of insider, good old boy, bullying. And I'm not talking the kids, I'm talking the parents or the coaches or the administration or the adults. Half the time the kids are going, come on, dude, can you just act like an adult or a kid? But every time we have an investigation, we get the same thing. We investigated, we see nothing. And it always happens. So I am really asking, and I don't know if any other board members are interested in it, but I would like to have an external investigation versus an internal. Because I just, it could be that we are 100% in the right and there's nothing going on, and that would be awesome. Explain to the parents that, hey, this is what we found. This is what they found. They reported to us. An external third-party investigation. Or we could find that, wow, we didn't realize this was going on. So my request would be that we actually consider an external to find out what's really going on. And on a happy note, there's only 3 days left in the week, and then we have Saturday. So I just had to end on a happy note, and I couldn't think of one, not today. People in this district are mourning their child. People in this district have so many things to deal with. These are trivial things. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Mrs. Reed.
Thank you. Just want to say thank you to our IS&T department for pulling an all-nighter last week to try and get our district back up in line and running. And thank you to our front office staff who was trying to communicate with parents and students and all of that. Thank you to our parents who were patient while all of our systems were down. And thank you to our facilities team who once again went above and beyond to make sure that school was open and safe for those campuses with downed trees and water and flooding and all of the things that happened in different parts of our district. I got quite a few emails about Gavilan Peak, and some of the details were very concerning to me as a mom and as a governing board member. And so thank you, Mrs. Moffett, for answering all of those and replying back to the parents every time, and for the out-of-the-box thinking that you've been trying to do to recruit facilities team members, not only for Gavilan Peak, but for other campuses and buildings around our district. I've got 2 little boys, and I have to clean their bathroom. They help me, but I go back and I clean with them. And little boys can be gross in their bathroom, and a lot of the concerns we had were about the boys' bathroom, and I'm hoping that while we are having these conversations and trying to think outside of the box and trying to keep our schools clean and safe, we're also having conversations with our kids about how they treat and care for their school and the facilities, and our teachers and our administrators are having those conversations with their students. Because there is no reason that students should be behaving that way inside the restroom and doing those things. And I'm hoping that when those things happen, that that there are consequences that are dealt with. I've got a son in college, and his dorm was disgusting, their bathroom and things like that. And I mean, it just, not everybody cares for public spaces. And so I'm hoping that we're having those conversations with our students, because that's their home, that's their campus, and they should take pride in those things and help take facilities when they're using them. I did get an email from a parent, and I don't know who. Mrs. Mock, this might be you, maybe, but they were asking if the district had up-to-date Booster Club guidelines. The ones that they were able to find on the district website were from 2015. So I don't know if there is a newer version, or if those need to be done, but can we make sure that that's updated? And if you wouldn't mind sending those out to the board so I can forward that to the parent who asked, that would be wonderful. I know that we had mentioned maybe over the summer, Dr. Zerbach, about drug dogs being back on campus. It would be great if we could get an update on that, and when that is going to possibly start. I know that they're surprises, so we don't want to give away the exact date that they're happening. Let us know when that starts rolling out again. I would appreciate that. I'd also like information on what our protocols and training are for our staff members, including our coaches, certified contract staff, for identifying substance abuse or suspected substance abuse among students or faculty, and what that is like. So if you wouldn't mind sending that in a Friday update, that would be great. Sorry, I'm going through my notes. Back to facilities, I know that we had talked about when we had approved substitute pay for staff members who were filling in. So I just want to make sure that for the staff members who are filling in and doing janitorial services at our schools, that they are receiving that substitute pay. And if we need to retroact that from the beginning of the school year before that was approved, making sure that that is taken care of, and everybody's being paid for the services that they're doing when they're going above and beyond. And then I'm a former Spirit Line member. I cheered for 6 years, a long time ago. It was not nearly the sport that it is now, but it does take quite a lot of athleticism to be able to compete. And we went to regionals and state and all that kind of stuff. Again, a long time ago. It's nothing like it was now. I don't even think there were all-star gyms back when I was in high school. However, I do know that it is very meaningful when there are partnerships between student organizations and athletic teams, and how important that is. So in Spirit Line, when we were out there supporting our basketball team and football team, they were in the stands when we went to regionals and when we went to state, and that made a huge difference for us because they were supporting us. And I hope that our departments are doing that and are encouraging our student athletes and our students to go and support other teams when they're competing. I know that it's very meaningful for marching band when they're at competition and they look up and they see their football players, because they're out there playing the fight song after every single touchdown, and they're out there on the field when their football team runs in. And that's important to do. And so I'm hoping that when we're having conversations at a school level and a district level, that we're encouraging that. And if they need help with purchasing tickets to be able to go, that there's help and resources available for student athletes to be able to do that, and transportation. I know that transportation is rough, but if we need to provide those services so we can get our teams out there to support the people who support them, that would be my ask, is that we can figure that out. And that is it. Thank you.
Mrs. Ordway?
I have been able to carve out some time to visit campuses, and as usual, and maybe this year, maybe more than others, just to watch how the students, our staff, parents, community has stepped up to fill in the gaps of our human resource issues, as well as things as supply chain issues. We've had a couple of classrooms that were out of air conditioning, and I think some of them were because we didn't have the personnel to get there that day, but the others had to wait because we didn't have the parts. They hadn't come in. So we want everyone to be number one in getting fixed and being whole. But when you watch, because you can't get everything done at the same time, the way the students do adapt, even though they want in their classroom, to their alternate place to learn. It's kind of neat. Special shout out again to all those in IS&T facilities, and not to leave payroll out, because I think they might have had to do things by hand last week in order to get paychecks out this week. Is that correct? No, they didn't have to hand do anything? Did they had a hustle? So they hustled to make sure there were paychecks. And then speaking to Jim, I think there's something we needed to do. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Jim.
Jim.
You thought you were,
Oh, wait. And the other one,
Sheila.
and happy belated birthday,
Yes, happy
Sheila.
belated birthday.
Oh, wait. And happy belated birthday, Mrs. Ordway.
Oh, that's okay. Games are going to start. I think the rain's going to keep coming. So we have issues in our district. We have great things that happen. We're always working on them. And what it appears in your perspective, sometimes things look like things they're not. And we will always work to get to the root of a problem so we can change it, not only for that specific problem, so we can learn how to be better. And on that note, Mrs. O'Brien.
Well, thank you. It's always fun to go last because everybody else has said most of maybe what you were going to say. So I will ask, though, a quick question. Mr. Miglerino, can you provide us an update, maybe this Friday, about air filter replacements for the purifiers that were bought and put in classrooms and buildings related to COVID? Please. And I, like my fellow governing board members, received emails about Gavilan Peak situation. I want to thank the community members who came this evening to discuss that. I know that our district staff is working diligently to try to resolve that. It is very difficult to find people, as other board members have touched on, and they are working to be creative in that and rework how our maintenance staff in the district work so we can get coverage over there. But thank you to all the staff, administrators, and volunteers and parents who are helping out at that school to keep it clean. In addition, I have received a couple of comments, emails about AC, not just at Gavilan Peak, but there have been some other schools that have some issues that I don't know if it has more to do with some humidity or whatnot, but I'll pass those schools along to you, Jim. But we have some rooms that are 82 degrees with high humidity too, and the kids are just sweltering. So I know that we're short-staffed and we have short parts. It's tough, and thank you to everybody who's working so hard. I know sometimes it's got to feel like it's just not enough, and we're working as hard as, I know you all are working as hard as you can. And then I want to thank the community members, parents, students who came out to talk about what's going on in Boulder Creek. I'd like to get an update before we take any further actions or look at any other actions this Friday, and we can discuss that some more. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat it. Thank you again to IS&T for getting us back and up and running after the horrible storm. I think Mrs. Wardway is correct. We're going to continue to have lots of storms, and we're doing everything we can to make sure our schools are opening up and our students are safe and are able to do their learning in a great environment. I want to thank the teachers who are stepping up and teaching 6/5. There are over 140 of them that the governing board approved tonight that are helping to fill in for those vacancies that we have not been able to fill with other people. And so for those who don't understand what that means that those teachers don't get a prep during the day. They are teaching all day long from the first start of the bell to the last bell. And they are compensated, but it makes it for a little bit longer day for them. And really kudos to them, because that means our kids have a highly qualified teacher teaching in those areas. So thank you for that. Dr. Finch, your
Sure.
update.
I'll jump on the IS&T bandwagon as well, and facilities for getting us through the storm. And yes, you are correct. They keep coming. Mr. Migrino reminded me, like, we just can't catch a break. As soon as we get on top of one storm and get the trees cleaned up and the water drained and the roofs patched, they 3 days later we get hammered again. So it has, and when you're short-staffed, that just makes people work overtime and extra. So appreciate the staff that are stepping up and helping us in that department. And as you mentioned too, when we were out with electricity, teachers had to go old school and run without power, without some of our systems for a bit. But the principals and staff all jumped in and helped out. Turned out to be a great day, and we got our technology back online. So, and as you know, everything in education today is run through a computer. So all of our systems, from the lunch line to call-ins to grading, everything is all run by software and systems. So thanks again to IS&T for helping us out there. Hope we'll have some solutions to continue to try to protect our systems in the future, but every once in a while, every 20-something years, we get another blast, and this seems to be our season. I also want to send a shout out to, I just found out via text that Jamie Hood, one of our principals from Paseo Hills, received a Fiesta Bowl grant this evening to run her clothing store, keep it going at the Rattler Den. So congratulations to her. So thanks again for all the staff stepping up as we get through this stormy season. We're looking forward to athletics and arts and the future demonstration of our students' abilities here coming soon. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Finch. Future meeting dates and events are posted for everybody, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:31.
Second.
I think she meant motion.
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our meeting is adjourned.